The beef has been closed down, and Carmi and his team are now opening a new restaurant called The Bear. For such a big renovation, Carmi and his crew have to change everything, and they need a huge amount of money for that. The money Carmen has already found is obviously not enough, so he decides to ask Uncle Jimmy for a loan. Jimmy hesitates, and Carmi offers him a risky deal. He promises to return all the money in 18 months. If he won't be able to do this, Jimmy will own the building. The main problem is that The Bear will take at least 6 months to open, in the best-case scenario. Carmen notices that Richie suffers from depression and lack of purpose in his life. Sydney asks Natalie to become a project manager and help out with the restaurant. She also asks Tina to become her sous chef, and Tina happily agrees. Eventually, Carmen, Natalie, and Sydney make up a plan on how to open the restaurant in 3 months. It sounds almost impossible, but Carmi is ready to do whatever it takes to make his dream come true. And let a race against time begin. The team is getting ready for the hardest time in their lives. They have only 12 weeks to open The Bear, and everyone has to make a contribution to expedite the process. While Carmen and Sydney start working on a new menu, Natalie, who already has her plate full with her pregnancy, agrees to work as project manager. She has to deal with the rest of the staff and manage Richie's conflicts with other workers. The restaurant building is in critical condition. The team worries about broken toilets, poor technical equipment, and mold, which is everywhere. Sydney sends Tina and Ibra to culinary school to get training. Later, she meets with her father, who doesn't really support her in this whole new restaurant idea. He carefully tells her she must have a backup career plan since the restaurant business is hard. Carmen runs into his childhood friend, Claire, who was his first crush, and she asks him to exchange phone numbers to keep in touch. He clearly has a lot going on in his head. He's still suffering from his family problems, which ruined his childhood, and his exhausting and traumatizing experience during his cooking career. But now he hopes to open his own restaurant and have a fresh start. Sydney gets an anxiety attack when she sees that a lot of restaurants in Chicago have closed in the recent past. She suggests they send Marcus on a trip to Copenhagen to improve his skills in making different types of desserts. Tina really enjoys her training program, while Ibra finds it hard to get used to something new and leaves without any explanation. Sydney is determined to help Carmi create the perfect menu for the place. He offers her to search for inspiration in other restaurants together. But when Claire calls him and asks to meet, Carmen ditches Sydney at the last moment. She goes on a gastronomic tour alone and tries dozens of dishes in different places and realizes that they need to hire more people for The Bear for the best customer service. However, she is still not sure if she can rely on Carmi, which causes a new conflict between them. Marcus agrees to travel to Copenhagen, although he is very concerned about his sick mother. There, he works under a British chef named Luca, who teaches him to cook delicious desserts. He also gives Marcus some important life lessons, which help him through his studies. At the end of the training, Marcus really improves his skills and gets ready to come back to Chicago and help The Bear succeed. The team is 6 weeks away from the opening, and the renovation hasn't made much progress. Sydney still struggles with the new menu, and Carmen, Sweeps, and Richie are mapping the kitchen plan to optimize efficiency. When Uncle Jimmy comes to check on the renovation work, he sees that the state of things is pretty bad. They still have a ton of work to do, and the list of tasks seems endless. Sydney's frustrations with Carmen keep growing as he further avoids helping her. He is pretty busy building his relationship with Claire. She invites him to a party where they have a great time together. Then he takes her to his restaurant and they finally kiss. Carmen recalls his last Christmas spent with the entire Berzatto family at his mother's house 5 years ago. Carmi returns from Copenhagen for the holidays. The house is bustling and everyone is occupied with something. Natalie worries about her mother Donna's mental condition and consistently asks if she is okay. Donna is preparing a traditional family dish, the Feast of the Seven Fishes, and it requires all of her energy and focus, but she refuses to accept anyone's help. All the family members gather from various parts of the country. Carmi is concerned about Michael not allowing him to work at the beef. Michael understands how chaotic the restaurant business can be and doesn't want to involve Carmen in that. Richie lies to his pregnant wife Tiffany about getting a permanent job from Uncle Jimmy, which will definitely cause troubles in the future. Carmen's cousin Michelle invites him to live at her place in New York. Donna has an emotional breakdown and takes out all her anger on Natalie. When dinner is finally ready, Uncle Lee and Michael engage in an escalating confrontation that eventually leads to a serious fight. Eventually, Donna causes another scene, complaining that no one loves and respects her. As a result, she drives her car right through the front door of the house. Well, it is certainly an unforgettable celebration. A few weeks remain before the Bear's opening, and Sydney eventually makes some progress with her chaotic menu. Carmen sends Richie to his previous workplace, the best restaurant in America. At first, Richie thinks it's a punishment and hates being there. But as the week passes, he delves deeply into the world of haute cuisine, learns a lot about customer service, and starts respecting the work he does and himself. Richie finally understands his strengths and purposes in life. As a result of his training, Richie seems a changed man, determined to make every second count. 2 weeks before the opening, Carmen is worried about getting the fire suppression test right. It's their last chance, and they have to do everything to make things run smoothly. Ibra returns to the restaurant and apologizes to Tina. He explains he was scared of new changes. But he is not a quitter, and he wants to do his part for the team. Richie comes back after his training and apologizes to everyone for being a jerk previously. Marcus is back too, and he shocks Sydney and Carmi with his new delicious desserts. While Fack and Sweeps are determined to solve the suppression problem, Sydney breaks the handle of the walk-in refrigerator. Sydney feels Carmen is too distracted because of his new girlfriend, and it causes a conflict between her and Carmi. Fack comes up with a genius idea and solves the suppression problem, and passing the test makes everyone happy. It is the night of the Bear's opening, and the team is filled with excitement. Marcus musters up the courage to ask Sydney out, but she awkwardly rejects him. Meanwhile, Carmen finds himself battling a mix of nerves and self-doubt. However, he manages to reconcile with Sydney and assists her in preparing the venue for the grand opening. Despite his efforts, Carmen struggles to maintain his focus and continues to make mistakes. He realizes that his relationship with Claire is too hard to handle given his need to prioritize the Bear and its success. Everything is finally in place, and the Bear officially opens its doors to welcome its very first guests. Of course, things don't go as smoothly as planned. Sydney takes charge of the operation, with Carmi assisting in organizing tasks. However, cracks in their plans begin to surface. The restaurant quickly fills up, and unfortunately, time is not on the team's side. Chaos erupts in the kitchen, throwing everything into disarray. To exacerbate the situation, Carmi accidentally locks himself inside the walk-in refrigerator and can't get out. In the midst of the chaos, Richie is the only one effectively managing the situation. He ensures the guests feel comfortable and satisfied and makes the crew work together in unison. When Natalie's husband spots her and Carmen's mother Donna outside the restaurant, he tries to persuade her to join them, but Donna declines. She is too emotionally unstable, and she doesn't want to ruin Carmen and Natalie's big night. Nonetheless, the night proves to be a resounding success for the Bear. The guests leave happy, and even Sydney's father expresses his utmost pride in his talented daughter. Meanwhile, locked inside the fridge, Carmen is consumed by his deep-rooted fear of failure. Overwhelmed, he begins to crumble under the weight of his emotions. Tina does her best to talk to him and calm him down. Claire finds out that Carmen is trapped and rushes to support him and uplift his spirits. However, Carmen, unaware of Claire's presence, confesses that their relationship was a mistake. His words shatter Claire's heart, leading her to leave. Realizing his error, Carmen experiences an intense emotional crisis. Why can't he just let something good happen for once in his life?